Hey guys, this is Charles Yeager with Metal. In this quick tutorial, we're going to take a look at the Hyperbolics effect that's a part of Mantra VR. Alright guys, inside of After Effects, I'm going to go ahead and toggle all of the Mantra VR effects in the Effects and Presets panel. I'm just going to type in VR. Now we can see all of the Mantra VR effects. Now I'm going to select Mantra VR Hyperbolics and just apply it to my 360 footage. Immediately you're going to see a pretty drastic change, and this is really the result of the Hyperbolics effect. You can see it has kind of a kaleidoscope pattern. It's also one of the more easily identifiable effects. It's a part of Mantra VR. You've probably seen this on a couple of the promotional videos. Really the only way I can describe it is a trippy, psychedelic-like sequence. And you can see we can adjust some things like the evolution here to really get some wild results. And again, this is all seamless. We can come over here to the Metal Globe preview, and I can look around here and you can see just how abstract the results we're getting are. I'm going to double click to go inside of the sphere. And again, we can look around. It's essentially just mirrored like a kaleidoscope effect in various different patterns depending on what you select. So let's come here and look at some of the effect options. Of course, we have frame layout for monoscopic and stereoscopic. We have a hyperbolic tile we can select from with all these different presets, and I'll come back and look at these later at the end. Next, we have our point of interest again, like most of the effects have, so I can actually move this around. And you can see how this kind of adjusts the hyperbolics effect where it's positioned. And in conjunction with that, we have the rotation around the point of interest, so we can actually rotate the entire equirectangular footage around that point of interest. Next, we have a zoom adjustment, so you can actually adjust this. On default, it's at 0, but you can actually increase the zoom. If you kind of want to crop in more on your equirectangular footage, you can see there's not quite as many repeating patterns here when the zoom's up all the way. And then when you dial it back down to 0, it's essentially as if it's pulling back, and you can see a lot more of the repeating pattern. As I mentioned, we have evolution options here. We have evolution 1 and evolution 2, and they just kind of accent each other. So the first one is going to be your primary one. You can go ahead and run through this, and you can see how it's kind of evolving, giving us this really trippy result. You can see it's updating over here in the global preview from the POV perspective. So you have the first evolution you can adjust, and then if you want to go ahead and accent that again, you have a secondary evolution you can also adjust. You can see the results we're getting from that. Almost looks kind of like an outer space atmosphere here, like a space warp or something. And again, the results you're going to get from your footage are definitely going to be one of a kind. So really depending on your settings, you can get vastly different looks. Next, we have the tilt, pan, and roll. And this is a little bit interesting because this is actually affecting our footage, not necessarily the hyperbolic. So you're going to see when I adjust this, you can see the footage is changing, but the actual pattern of the hyperbolics is not. And so this would be the tilt, pan, and roll for your actual footage. We can still see that identifiable pattern there. Now finally, the last option is my favorite, which is the interpolate option. So we've got this really trippy, hyperbolic, psychedelic design on our 360 footage. You know, we can see it here from our POV. And let's say our client really likes this, but of course, you're probably going to want to transition from this psychedelic look back to something that looks normal. And that's where the interpolate effect comes into play. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this, and you can kind of see what's going to happen on the footage as I drag this down from 100. You can see it's interpolating back down all the way back into the original shot. So it's a very powerful feature to have with this effect. Essentially enables us to do transitions or keyframe things, you know, coming on and off screen, and just makes it really easy if you're going to have any transitional elements with this particular effect. As a quick demo, I'll go ahead to the beginning of my footage here, and I'm going to go ahead and set this back to 100, do a keyframe. We'll just come down here to the end, set another keyframe here to 0. And while that's adjusting, I'll also go ahead and animate the evolution here. So I'm just going to hit U on the keyboard to show those two keyframes so I can see where they are. And for evolution 1, I'll bring this down and just create a keyframe and move it back down here near the end so you can actually animate the evolution while this is happening as well. And I'll just increase this now, then I'll create a secondary keyframe there we can see. Pressing U on the keyboard again to see both of those. So I'm going to do a quick RAM preview of this and we can see the result. And so here's a quick animation of that interpolation animation that we got using the hyperbolics effect. Again, as I mentioned, we have various different hyperbolic tile presets up here. So I'm going to go back to the beginning of my footage, and I'm going to go ahead and cycle through these various presets. On the default, it's at warp times 3, then you have warp times 4, and you can see how it kind of just multiplies what we're seeing on screen. And we'll go to the warp 5, and we're really getting some abstract patterns. Next, we have the kaleidoscope presets, and you can see the results you're getting from those. Again, this is all seamless. just repeating that pattern over and over. And you can see here in the globe preview what's happening if we look around the scene. And you can imagine with the evolution animating how trippy this stuff is going to look. And the kaleidoscopes go all the way down to kaleidoscope 7. Definitely going to be one of the more recognizable effects that's a part of Mantra VR. Alright guys, this has been Charles Yeager from Metal. Thanks for watching.